Hello, folks. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And we are in the Python basic series for beginners. So, our today's topic of discussion is functions. We will cover this topic in three parts. In this video, we will have a look at what are functions, then how to call a function, what are different types of arguments in a function, what is a parameter, and what are return types. And in next video, we will cover the scope of variables, following to which we will see what is recursive and lambda functions. So let's jump in with this video. This video is for the ones who are struggling with the basic definition and syntax of functions. So request you to stay tuned and watch the entire video to get it cleared. So let's start with functions definition. Functions is nothing but a block of statements that return specific tasks. So instead of writing same code again and again, we can reuse the code using functions. And this is the syntax of function. A keyword def indicates that whatever we write after def is a function. So def keyword is to indicate the definition of the function, and followed by a function name, whatever name you give it, and then parameters. Just to give a heads up, there are two types of functions. One is user defined types and another one is built-in types. So we are looking currently at user defined types because built-in types are something that we already know is already there with Python, like sprint function, max, min function. These are all built-in functions. User defined is something that we create the way we want it to be. Okay. So coming back to the definition, def, function name, and parameters. So parameters are optional, it's not a compulsory part. Then we write something inside a function. So what do you want your function to do? So whatever task the function need to perform, you would mention in the this block, and then the function will return a particular value. Again, it's a optional part. That if like you can take an example of print function, it doesn't return anything, it just prints to the output screen or whatever the terminal you are using. All right, so let's have a look at the example. So for the first one will be function without a parameter. Here you could see there is no parameter. As I said, parameter is optional. So def my function and then no parameter specified. Inside a function, you just want to print a message, say hello from a func, which is mentioned over here, and then you call a function. Now when you call a function, you just write the name and the parenthesis. If some value was passed inside, we would have passed some value. If some parameter was used, we would have passed the value for that parameter, but there is no parameter used in this case, so we will straight away call my underscore function, and it will return us a result that will print hello from a func. See, that's it. Look at this, hello from a func got printed. So this function was to just print this message hello from a func to the output screen. We called this function and the message got printed. Now moving ahead, we will also see the function with parameters. Before having a look at function with parameter, let's see what is parameter and what is an argument. And also, let's have a look at what is return type. So return type is a type of value that a function will give back when it finishes running. In the above function, when we executed this def my underscore function, it did not return anything because the function's job was just to print hello from func to the output terminal. However, now we will be looking for a function that will return something. So if there is nothing mentioned in return type, that means it will return none. That is by default. All right. And a parameter is nothing but a variable listed inside the parenthesis while function definition. So here, if you could see in this example, we are defining a function def of function name even odd with def keyword. All right. So def even odd, and inside that we have passed a parameter num. So we are passing this variable num at the time of definition. That's the reason it is called as a parameter. And then what is argument? Whenever we pass a value to a function while calling it, look at this, even odd, we are calling it and we are passing some value inside it. So this is, we are passing some value, say number 5. So this number 5, it is called as argument. Then inside the function block, if you could see, we are using return statements. So in if block, we are using one return statement, and else block, so as condition matches, it will return something. Now this function is to is this function is created to identify if a number is even or odd, and you can see the code that is return to identify the even and odd number, that is num modulus 2 is equal to 0. If num modulus 2 is equal to 0, then it will return it as a even number, else it will return it as a odd number. So it is returning some value using this return statement. And as I mentioned earlier, in the above example, when we were just printing it, it returned nothing. However, here it will return a message whether the number is even or the number is odd. So if I run this, as 5 is odd number, it returned odd. This function was called. Inside that function, this condition got false, and it went to the else block and just returned the result that the number is odd. I hope this is clear. So we move on to the next section, that is type of arguments. There are different types of arguments. First one is default argument, then there is a keyword argument, then there is a positional argument, and then there is a arbitrary argument. Let's have a look at it one by examples. So first one, we are creating a function named power, and we are passing a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 1. So these values that are assigned in the function definition are called as default arguments. Here you could see a is equal to 1, so 1 is assigned to a and b is equal to 1. So whenever the function will be called, if there is no value present in that particular function, then it will take those default values. And what it is returning, it is returning a raised to b, that is a asterisk b. That means it is using exponential operator. It will return a raised to b. Now I call a function. If you could see, I haven't specified any of the value of a or b. Still, it will return me some output, not an error. The reason is we had assigned default values to a and b. So this return a raised to b, that is 1 raised to 1. So if you just mention here, say 2, all right. So it returned 2 because 2 raised to 1. So it took the value of a as 2 and it returned you the value 2, because for b it took its default value. The only advantage here is you don't get an error with default values. Instead, it processes the default arguments that are passed and gives you the result. Next one is positional argument. So if you could carefully observe the same function, I'm calling it again, and I mentioned 2 comma 3. So when I mentioned 2 comma 3, it gave me 8. Means the calculation was done on the basis of position. 2 got assigned to a and 3 got assigned to b, and this assignment was done on the basis of position. 2 is at first position here in the function, a is at first position, b is at second position, and in the function, and in the function call 3 is at second position. So a got assigned, 2 got assigned to a and 3 got assigned to b. We got the result 2 raised to 3, that is 8. Right. Then next comes in is keyword argument. Keyword argument supersedes positional argument, meaning irrespective of position, the arguments will the arguments that will be passed will also define to which variable it will be assigned to, that is to which parameter the argument will be assigned to. So here 3 is directly assigned to b and 2 is assigned to a. That's the reason the function already knows which value to assign to b and a. Here the function works like this: 3 will get assigned to b and 2 will get assigned to a when it comes to the function call, and irrespective of the position it will process the result and it will also be 8. So it has successfully ignored the position of the function. Okay, moving ahead. What if you need, um, say you are not aware how many number of variables will come in as an argument, or multiple variables are expected as an argument. So at that time you can use this symbol star in function definition in function definition with parameter. So here parameter is what? Args. It's not necessary that you use, there is a compulsion to use word args here. You can use any of the word, but it's a convention that people use args. So that's the reason I've taken the same word here. You can use any word you want. So star args, here stars indicates that star indicates that the function will expect variable number of positional arguments. Variable number of positional arguments, this is very important. Okay, so here is a function which gives you the multiplication of whatever arguments that will be passed. All right, so we have run a for loop, and we will iterate over each of the arguments that will be passed, and we will calculate the product. We will, in the sense, the function will calculate the product and return the output. See, it's returning product. So when I call a function, I have just randomly passed five parameters, 1 2 3 4 5, and it should give me the product of 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, which comes to 120. Next is kwargs. Here we can um, successfully take key and value pairs as arguments. So you could see double asterisk is the thing that does the job for the key and value pairs. If you could see here in for loop, key and value in kwargs.items, and then the logic inside it. And if you want to print kwargs name Alice and age is equal to 30, so it will successfully do it. Let's see the result. See, name got in the name, the argument that was passed was Alice, and age, the argument was passed as 30. So this is for key value pair, if you remember from the dictionaries session that we had already seen in the previous videos. If not, I will share the link in the description of this video, and you can refer to the dictionary session. So that's it for this video. I think the concepts are clear. What we saw was how to create a function, the syntax of the function, definition of the function, and the function without a parameter. We called that function, we just printed one message. We took one example to find out whether the number is even or odd, and we called that function as well. We saw what is the difference between argument and a parameter. We also saw what is return type. Then we also had a look over what are different types of arguments: default argument, keyword argument, positional arguments, and arbitrary arguments. We also saw the examples for those. And yeah, that's it for this video. We will come up with next videos on function that will describe the scope of variables, and followed with that will be the another video that we will take care in which we will take care of recursive functions and lambda functions. So thanks for watching. I hope I was able to clear the basic definition and the basic concepts of functions. See you in the next video. Thank you.